consider myself a pretty reasonable guy, but this hatred, dismissal, and overall bias against the Xbox brand has come to an absolute ugly, gnarly head. And it's no longer just fanboys gloating over PS4 power, PS4 exclusives, and PS4 sales. It has spilled into the attitudes of the media and devs catering to Sony at every turn. We're talking about an entire industry filled with savage fanboys, media outlets with first-hand access with up-to-the-minute information, still laughing and insulting Xbox One, but something changed. Sony never bothered to look back at Microsoft before. Scorpio became a concept and PS4 Pro was already out, and games looked great. 2017 was different. Sony had nothing to worry about. Horizon Zero Dawn, Neo, and Nier were doing well, and PS4 gamers had more to play than they could buy. Sony had no reason to worry about the position of Xbox until Digital Foundry revealed the power of Xbox Scorpio. Now favor turned into bias, and bias turned into an epidemic. Media outlets like IGN and GameSpot, salty over not getting frontline access to the new Xbox console, built their narrative about the Xbox as a doubt campaign. Although a Forza 6 PC game running at 4K 60 should give savvy gamers and tech heads some kind of gauge for what the Xbox One X could do, instead, media narrative approach was to either send out doubt messaging or ignore Xbox altogether. These media outlets are getting trickle-down money from Sony's advertising, which is everywhere because they hold the market share, and because of this, Sony basically directs the media narrative. Think about it. I call out Jim Ryan and Sony for being anti-gamer and anti-consumer, and instead of gamers calling for an improvement of gaming, even in their own PlayStation platform, these PS4 gamers would rather excuse a lack of backward compatibility. They'd rather excuse a knock on retro gaming. They'd rather excuse the dumbing down of gaming quality only if it means they don't get the crappiest version. They'd rather excuse the lack of crossplay, giving up the opportunity to play with or against their friends on Xbox. Because Sony says, we must watch out for the children. All because Sony thinks they might lose a console sale? These anti-consumer and anti-gamer Xbox haters are ridiculing Xbox for not having any exclusives because these games are also available on PC. Did you know that many PS4 exclusives are also available on PC? There is hatred for features, flexibility, and options. Respawn said they got Titanfall 2 up to 6K 60 on the Xbox One X. I'm not claiming the Xbox is a 6K beast, but doesn't that give you some kind of idea of how capable the X is with corridor shooters? Doesn't Forza 7 running at 4K 60 locked give you some kind of indication how similar games will run on the Xbox? And then you've got haters running with reaching complaints like Project Cars not being locked at 60 FPS and using dynamic scaling to drop below 4K. Haters laughing that Super Lucky's Tale drops 2 to 3 frames in native 4K 60. Games already out on Xbox One X are getting 4K upgrades, and that's something that the competition cannot do unless it's an older game or an arcade title. Don't you guys realize you're looking at it backwards? It's not Microsoft lied. Xbox isn't the beast they promise. The truth is, the devs made this compromise, and these multi-plats are getting similar builds. This hatred and dismissal for Xbox has gotten so far out of hand that it is hurting the industry. Microsoft is doing all of these great things for gamers, for the community, and for the industry. And that industry is ridiculing them, doubting their abilities, and cheering on the largest console while Sony enjoys the snowball effect. We game in an environment where it is unpleasant to be an Xbox One owner. Xbox has fewer games than PS4 because of this entire situation. Devs will cater to the bigger console, and I can understand that. But the bigger console is doing almost nothing with that revenue except for spending it on marketing and saying no. Regardless of everything I've said here and how hard I've tried to be fair, Xbox One X games will be the better version no matter what. Instead of berating Xbox owners with your opinion of the games they are getting on Xbox One X, Why don't you pour that energy into asking for free access through PS Now of the games you already own on PS3? Use that negative energy to ask for something like Game Pass, where you can actually install and play the games even offline. Why not take that bashing effort and tell Sony to quit dismissing retro gaming and bring crossplay? Sony is the only one with the clout to make something like crossplay in Call of Duty, Battlefield, Battlefront, Madden, FIFA, making those cross-play with Xbox. Imagine the incredible stats of who are the better competitive shooters in PS4 versus Xbox lobbies. And use that time you're commenting on Xbox announcements to challenge Sony to do more and get their butts hustling on that PS5 for 2019 or 2020. This is Colt Eastwood. Thank you for taking the time to watch and listen. And if you supported my channel this far, I want to thank you so much for that. I also want to thank Dealer Gaming. You guys wouldn't even see this video if it wasn't for his help. And if you like this kind of stuff, I would strongly implore you to join the live chat and listen to RDX, a gaming podcast on Dealer's channel every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. We keep it to an hour and answer questions from you guys because you're the best, and this community on Xbox has really rallied together this past few months. Thanks again for checking out my channel. If you like this, show support and hit the like button. I know we don't always want to do it, but if you at least agreed, I earn that rating. And if you're new here, subscribe. I put out thoughtful content every week. Thanks for everything, and let's talk on Twitter at Colt Eastwood. Later, gamers.